you. We begin this hour in West Virginia, where defendant Natalie Cochran was back in court today for a suppression hearing ahead of her trial scheduled to begin next week. The former pharmacist is charged with first-degree murder for allegedly using insulin to kill her husband Michael back in 2019. Prosecutors believe that Natalie murdered Michael to cover up a multi-million-dollar Ponzi scheme in which she was convicted and sentenced to 11 years in prison. Before we take you into court for that hearing, here is our own Court TV anchor Ted Rollins with a closer look at the case.
Natalie Cochran, a former pharmacist, is accused of poisoning her husband, charged with first-degree murder for allegedly using insulin to kill him.
You are the defendant in this matter, obviously. I mean, you are aware of that, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Michael and Natalie Cochran had 2 kids. He was 38 years old when he died. In early February of 2019, he was sick, had a seizure at the couple's home, and then died 5 days later in hospice. Prosecutors say Natalie killed Michael to cover up her $2.5 million fraud.
They're not two separate things that you can unravel and say there's a federal Ponzi scheme and there's a state murder case. They're combined.
7 months after Michael died, Natalie Cochran was charged by the feds for wire fraud and bank fraud as part of a Ponzi scheme. The Cochrans owned a company, Tactical Solutions Group, which they claimed sold weapons to the U.S. Department of Defense. Federal prosecutors alleged it was a fake business. They had no contracts with the government. The millions of dollars investors, who were mostly family and friends, sunk into the company was actually spent on a lavish lifestyle. Cochran pled guilty in 2020. She was sentenced to 11 years in federal prison.
The financial crime gives rise to motive.
The state alleges that Michael had no idea the family business was a sham, and they say Natalie killed him when he became suspicious and started asking too many questions, especially after his parents invested their entire savings and were not getting their money back. During Cochran's sentencing, Michael's mother said she took advantage of us because we loved her and believed everything she said. Lie after lie after lie, and still no deposits were made. The money never came. Cochran's attorney claims that Michael was a part of the scheme.
There's evidence that points to, I'll say that, to the alleged victim's involvement in the case from the get-go.
Natalie Cochran was indicted for Michael's murder in 2021. The case was temporarily dismissed while the state exhumed his body. She was re-indicted in October of 2023. Now she faces up to life in prison if convicted.